Hi, my name's Brian Breland, and I'm here in the kitchen today with a question for you. Have you ever wanted to know if there was a way to slice, chop, dice onions without all the tears? Well, today I have some tips for you to help you avoid the stinging eyes and tears that often seem unavoidable when working with onions in the kitchen. Now, although there is no way to completely avoid the gases that cause those stinging eyes and tears when you're working with onions, apart from wearing goggles in the kitchen, these tips will help you to slice, chop, and dice more quickly, which will reduce the amount of time you spend taking in those gases. Ultimately, these tips will help you to enjoy the cooking experience even more. Now, you're going to need several things for this process. Obviously, you're going to need some onions. Whether they be yellow, white, red, makes no difference. You just need an onion. Second thing you're going to need is a good knife, whether it be a standard 8-inch chef's knife or a Santoku knife. The third thing you'll need is a cutting surface, such as a cutting board or a butcher block counter. Now, the very first tip that I want to give you concerning how to work with onions without tears is to start with your onions in the freezer for about 15 minutes. What this will do is this will slow down the process of the gases being released when you're slicing them, which will reduce the amount of gas that gets into your eyes, stinging them and causing those tears. The second is to have a good sharp knife for two reasons. For safety, first of all. A dull knife is a dangerous knife because you can slip off what you're working with and you can end up injuring yourself, slicing part of your finger or whatever it may be. A good sharp knife will go smoothly through whatever you're working through and keep you even safer. And the third is how to properly handle a knife. Now, most would logically say, well, there's the handle, so that's where I want to put my hand. And while that is a fairly good grip on your knife, a better grip is to actually slide your hand further up the blade, up on the hilt. Okay? What this does is this balances the knife in your hand, and it provides you with greater control and stability when you're working with onions or whatever you're slicing. So that's a good tip for how to control your knife. Now, the first thing I want to do is want to look at slicing an onion. All right? And the first step in the process is to begin by slicing off both ends of the onion. And you want to stand the onion up on its end, and you want to slice it directly down in half. Then you want to remove the paper, and most likely you want to remove the outer layer of skin along with it. Sometimes this will come off easier than it will at other times. But you want to remove that outer layer. You do this with both. Once you've removed the paper and the outer layer of skin, you want to take the onion and you want to set it down flat on its flat side, and you want to begin to, with a nice, easy, either forward or backward slicing motion, either again forward or backwards, whichever is more comfortable for you. And remember, you want to keep your fingers curled under. The knuckles will serve as a guide, and it will keep your fingertips away from the blade of the knife. Again, you just want to nicely slice through your onion, whatever size you want. Now, what you don't want to do is you don't want to press down on your onion. What this will do is this will break the cells, releasing more gas into your eyes and causing more tears. So you want to just continue to nice and smoothly, easily through the onion, slice your onion. Now, the second process we want to look at is we want to look at chopping or getting a large dice off your onion. Again, what you want to do is you want to begin, same process, you want to slice off both ends of your onion. Lay your onion up on its flat side, cut it directly in half, and again, same process, you want to remove the paper and the outer layer if necessary. This one, it's not necessary. You want to lay your onion on its flat side once again. And for a large dice or a chop, the easiest thing to do is to come across your onion along the length of the onion and give yourself a good 3 or 4 or even 5, depending on the size of your onion, vertical slices. Keeping your onion in the same position, then you want to come across and begin to make perpendicular slices across your onion. And as you'll see, this provides a nice large chop or a large dice. Once you get to the end, just simply slide it over and continue the process. Now remember, keep your fingers curled under, as this will keep your fingertips safe and away from the blade. Now the last process is a little more tricky. All right? A fine dice on an onion takes some technique and it takes some practice. It's a little bit more difficult. The first thing you want to do is you want to begin by making long vertical slices very close together, almost all the way through your onion. You don't want to go all the way through because the onion will then begin to fall apart. Again, just nice, easy motion all the way through. Then you want to turn your onion 90 degrees, and then placing your palm directly on top, you want to take your knife horizontal to your cutting surface. Starting at the bottom, you want to begin to make horizontal slices in your onion, not all the way through. All right? You want to, depending on the size of your onion, you may get 3, maybe 4 slices across. All right? Then you want to come back in the same direction, and with your fingers curled under for safety, again, you want to then begin to make long slices perpendicular to your original slices. And as you will see a nice fine dice coming off your onion. And if you've noticed, using this technique, I spent very little time over the onion. Very few gases are being released, and as you can see, I'm not crying. My eyes aren't stinging. Now that I've demonstrated these tips, take some time to practice these techniques. You're not going to become proficient at these immediately. It takes practice. Good knife skills are a product of good practice. And don't get discouraged if you don't become proficient right away. Remember, all the top chefs started out just like you and I. Finally, you can begin to use these techniques to impress your friends and family with your expertise in the kitchen. Thank you.